Jawad and his team, all the organizers of the conference that never fails to innovate in form, format, and content, and surprise us every year with new ideas and new concepts, and many times ahead of the trends, and being able to come together here to discuss and predict those trends and see how we can collectively work to change our environment actively rather than passively react to it. So for that, I thank you, and it is also a great pleasure for me to be here again with you today to share some thoughts about the trends and the changes in our world, be it on the technology side, be it on the business model side, or on the environment. It goes without saying, but it's always important and interesting to remind ourselves of what has been happening over the last 3 to 4 years. Well, the world has been changing, no doubt. Changes on the economic side. A crisis started in 2008, which we do not see or seem to see the end of coming anytime soon on the economic side. Many changes on the socio-political side have happened, not just in this part of the world, but around the world. Changes in leadership in Russia, Europe, the US, changes on the streets, changes at a natural level with volcano eruptions, with a tsunami, nuclear meltdown in Japan, that all of them have showed us that any movement anywhere in the world, be it natural, be it man-made, be it economic or political, has major ripple effects on all of us at all levels, largely helped by the globalization of the way we live and do business. We're all interconnected, news travels faster than we could have imagined. It's instant. Economic impact happens almost instantly across the world. So this is the new world that we live in, a world that has been created largely in the last 15 years. And this is a real example of how things could collapse, but also we need to think carefully and deeply on how we can play a role in making things much better. And this is at the center of what we do in the communications and technology industry. Equity market fluctuations, sector indices variances range from minus 57% to plus 155%. So money and investments have been shifting from one part to the other and back. Inflation increases, and funnily enough, if you look at these numbers, everything has been increasing in price except electronics, computers, effectively, and telecommunications, who have been decreasing. Not a surprise, even in inflationary times. Credit rating downgrades have happened to countries, and strong increase in government debts as percentage of GDP. So governments around the world are no longer in a position to overspend and support industries. And currency fluctuations have actually impacted many global companies, including telecom operators. Foreign direct investments has been dropping in the Middle East and North Africa region. In 2007, foreign direct investment was around $78.5 billion US coming into the region. Today, and divided between GCC mostly, North Africa and the Levant. And it's been dropping gradually since then until 2010, with the Levant stabilizing until more recently with the events that have happened in Syria that slowed down foreign direct investment even in the Levant. In terms of mergers and acquisitions and transactions in the telecoms space in the region, they pretty much came down to a halt in 2011, and we have not seen any signs of developments in that space in 2012 either. Only 2 transactions happened last year. So what is happening? Telecom operators went through an expansion mode, particularly from this part of the world, globalized over the last 6-7 years. At this point in time, pretty much everyone is going through a rationalization stage where they're trying to extract value from the current portfolio, create synergy and harmonization across the portfolio, increase controls over companies where there is no control, and optimization of the effectiveness of the operations that have been acquired. Probably the next stage that you will see over the next couple of years is a continuation of a trend that has already started in terms of smart growth, companies increasing their stakes, as I said, and we've seen, for example, Orange increasing its ownership in Mobile in Egypt. That was an example of further consolidation. And operators will probably selectively pursue combined scale and control in companies that they either acquired recently or have acquired minority stakes in the past. And to also explore scope expansion opportunities, which means effectively contemplating assets adjacent to the telecommunications infrastructure and service industry that support the main revenue streams, and we'll come back to that a bit later. If we look at the M&A transactions by type, most of them in 2011 were actually acquisitions to control or acquire control in existing stakes or in existing companies, increase the stake in existing companies. While in 2007, 2008, most of them were actually in acquiring entry positions in companies. And if we look at what's happening, those companies are balancing between their position in mature leaders that are cash, solid cash and net income generators, and revenue growth companies that enable long-term sustainability. So that is the balancing act that is happening today through M&A activities. On the operational side, so that's on the acquisitions or the ownership and the inorganic growth side of investments. On the operational side, global demand for data is no doubt increasing. You can find many numbers. I don't think any of them is accurate, and we're going to be all missing all expectations, no doubt. But this is just one other number that I came across, which is about 4 times the value of 2010 being achieved in 2014, quadrupling the amount of data demand at the global level. CapEx-wise, that is fairly predictable over the next 3 years. Between 2012 and 2015, the telecoms industry is expected to invest $1.2 trillion in capital expenditure on fixed and mobile infrastructure. Around 700 billion on that will go to mobile infrastructure, predominantly because this is where a lot of capacity upgrade is required, given that mobility is becoming pretty much widespread with almost 100% to 120% penetration across the MENA region particularly. What does that mean? MENA broadband subscribers in the region expected to reach 184 million in 2014. Smartphone adoption is on the increase, and by 2014 we'll have about a phenomenal growth of about 28% in places like Egypt as markets evolve towards mobile smartphones. And the MENA region number of application downloads will increase to over 1.2 billion in a year. At the same time, several growth drivers will also present a tangible opportunity for all of us. We're not saying that the revenues coming from m-commerce, verticalization, M2M, and cloud services will actually move the needle on the scale of the telecoms industry. Because if you look at the total amount of revenues coming from these services, and you compare it to the global telecoms industry's revenues, it's still quite conservative. However, the impact of these industries, or these adjacencies, on the mainstream connectivity and infrastructure business is massive, by way of increasing retention, increasing value, increasing volume of sales. So that is going to be an important area of the next growth engine. It is not the only growth engine, but an essential area of the growth engine that will fuel growth going forward.
believe that's my 4th year in a row, and the forum is as stimulating and as exciting as ever. Probably worthwhile to start with a short update about Motorola mobility. I think it's well documented in press now that Motorola is in the process of becoming part of Google, Motorola Mobility. And all the pending regulatory approvals for this merger has been granted over the weekend, and we're at the final moments of finalizing this closure, which we look forward to. I thought it would be worthwhile to remind that Motorola in its DNA has the TV and entertainment. It's very much associated with these spaces in certain parts of the world, but maybe not in ours. It was Motorola who originally introduced the color first, commercial color TV, and the first car radio, and then after the cellular phone and the cable TV. So actually, the convergence and what it is enabling right now has brought us again, our focus again, to where our core DNA lies, to our original core strengths when we started up the company in the 28th. So we have been talking about convergence for quite a while now. I remember the term getting into our lexicon early 2000s. I think it was very visionary of, again, Jawad to focus this event on convergence as early as 9 years ago. But at that moment, convergence was something that we all aspired to, something that we would want to have. And now today, it is something that has happened. It is in the process of shaping up, changing its form, but certainly it is something out there. And all the discussion that's shaping around this is also uncovering the complexities, the complications it brings. And the word itself has changed its meaning over time. I remember talking about fixed mobile convergence at the very early 2000s, and then we started to talk about convergence of applications. Then we started to talk about actually convergence of industries, media and telecoms converging together. Certainly 4 major forces have been driving and shaping this cloudy term, and cloud itself is another interesting term that we use in a very broad context. Convergence is mobile computing. It's been mentioned that the mobile phones we use today have more processing power than the PCs we used only a few years ago. Mobile internet, we heard about the numbers. Mobile media. I can give an example from my own country. YouTube is today 10% of internet usage in Turkey. And I'm seeing forecasts that by 2020, around 80% of internet traffic will be video. And it's for sure, it has gone mobile, and it will go mobile even further. And digital home, this is again another concept that we have been talking about for a while, but now we are seeing the concrete applications and concrete experiences linking it, is digital home, connected home. We were talking about connecting PCs, we were talking about connecting our devices, but now we're talking about our home as an ecosystem, as something being connected. And the mobile experience as taking the experience we have within our home outside. And the challenge we face as industry is transforming the technology, underlying technology that allows convergence into experiences, into converged experiences. Very rightfully, the discussion has focused on that the value is shifting. It is not where it used to be 10 years ago, 5 years ago, even 2 years ago. So I think it's worthwhile for us to think where the value is today then, to where it is shifting. It is, of course, the OTT players is an important part of the equation, but it's the experience that's emerging. Only this complex developments in a number of technologies collectively enabling, that's where the value is shifting to. It's the converged experiences where the value lies. And to characterize a few aspects of those experiences, it is social, it is not social versus video, but converged experiences are social. Social is an important dimension, aspect of those experiences. It's local. When I say local, it is context aware. So the experience has an intelligence to offer you, to recommend you, to suggest you certain content, certain apps, certain functionalities, depending on where you are. It's mobile, for sure. Video, and it's driving. Video is at the core of this. It's all driving that transformation. And the cloud, of course. Cloud is, as I see it, is the state of being independent of your device. Is the state of having access to services, content, applications, independent of the capabilities of your device that you put at hand. And this is our business. And when Motorola transformed itself 2 years ago into Motorola Mobility and Motorola Solutions, Motorola Mobility said, this is our business, this is the business that I'm going to be in transforming the underlying technologies of convergence, delivery of content over multiple screens into experiences that customers use, love, and associate at an emotional level. So just a few data points I would like to refer to get a better view of where customer is and what they do today. So every year we conduct a survey, which is what we call Motorola Media Engagement Barometer Survey. The idea is to observe usage behavior and trends and expectations of the actual customers from different segments, from different age groups, from different parts of the world, in terms of their engagement in media and media consumption, online video to some degree. And this year we have conducted in 16 countries, over 9,000 consumers. It's not huge, but it gives a very clear view. And especially if you correlate this data year over year, going 4 years back, going 5 years back, it gives you a very clear trend. And on those 16 countries, UAE and Turkey are included, which show very interesting patterns as well. So, again, TV and films, the linear consumption of TV and films is at the forefront in terms of entertainment time consumers spend. In average, they spend 16 hours watching TV and films in a more conventional, traditional fashion. They spend 13 hours on the internet, 7 hours on social networks, and that category didn't exist only 3-4 years ago. And this is incremental to the internet browsing experience. And if you go to certain segments, for example, Turkey is very interesting in that aspect, Indonesia is very interesting in that aspect, UAE has come up pretty progressive as well in terms of that aspect. There are certain segments that are almost not watching TV and consuming their video or TV content online through social networks as well as some other online sites. And 6 hours TV games. 37% are watching video, TV or some other video content outside their homes using a mobile device. Some through laptops, some mobile phones, some through tablets. And tablet is existing here. It is very interesting here because tablet is a truly convergent device. Without convergence, there wouldn't have been tablets. And if you look at the rate of increase of penetration of tablets, the penetration increase of tablets is going faster than mobile phone at the beginning of cellular technologies. So linear TV still remains as the primary approach they consume video. 57% watch mainly scheduled or live TV at the time that's aired. But 32% watch equal amount of linear TV and on-demand content. That's very significant, 32%. And 11% watch mainly recorded or on-demand content. They don't watch TV. They don't watch linear TV. They want their content when they want, wherever they are. And this is the stat that really amazes me. 70% engage in some form of dialogue through a social network or through a social application regarding the content they watch when they watch it. And this was 40% only 1 year ago. It gives us a so clear, so strong message that TV experience is no longer watching TV. If there is a companion experience that goes with it, whether it's the tablet, whether it's the smartphone, or whether it's the laptop, people combine their watching experience with their social experience that complements it. And we are already seeing services in the market that leverages this fact. And I think this is an area that we will see a lot of innovation on. Social and TV coming together.
Today in the morning we've heard a lot from our leaders, from the CEOs and from the speakers, the panelists about divergence, about how telcos and OTTs are diverging. They're not getting along. Someone is taking the other's share. So I thought when we wanted to present that, we are on a Convergence Summit. We want to present a live example on convergence. And the Telecom, Media and Technology City is a live example of Jordan Telecom Group Convergence, where we will become, with partners, a real estate operator, a telecom operator, a smart city operator that houses the OTTs, telecom operators, and media as well. So it's a big project that we announced nearly 2 years ago with the credit crunch that faced Jordan. It took us a while. We took our time to study it and to process it. Our board members told us, well, wait, let's assess the whole market. And I think the right time has came just to start with that idea, with that project. And I'll go through that project with you as we go. First of all, I would like to show a small video about...
The Middle East has always been celebrated as one of the world's most lucrative investment destinations, a position that is increasingly being reinforced through progressive government policies and ambitious development projects. Premier examples of such projects are the Dubai Smart City and the Smart Village in Egypt, both of which set new standards for mixed developments, hosting a wide variety of projects that deliver unparalleled opportunities to their respective communities. The Smart Village in Egypt was created as a specialized technology hub that serves as an all-around resource for professional services aimed at local and regional businesses. Similarly, the Dubai Smart City has grown to become a thriving business community, hosting both global and regional media companies. Like Dubai and Egypt, Jordan is one of the fastest growing ICT hubs in the region, with a continually developing telecom infrastructure that serves as a key pillar in its socio-economic prosperity. His Majesty King Abdullah II expressed interest in the establishment of a distinctive, multi-purpose development that will host a variety of corporate, residential, and commercial projects, an endeavor driven by a long-standing vision that seeks to cultivate a knowledge-based economy in the kingdom. Jordan Telecom Group, Orange Jordan, seized the opportunity to spearhead this ambitious project. As the key propeller of Jordan's ICT landscape, Orange Jordan and its selected partners in the project possess the know-how and experience to translate such a grand vision to reality. The company's track record is replete with outstanding achievements that help to introduce a wide variety of cutting-edge services into the kingdom, redefining the way its people experience and utilize technology. The TMT City project will enjoy a prime location near the Queen Alia International Airport Road, approximately 25 kilometers away from the airport itself.
So basically, this is our answer for the shrinking voice revenues and for the lack of uptake on data services. We are going, one of our answers was basically going into real estate development and into smart city solutions. So what did we do? Based on the vision of His Majesty, there was a direction that Jordan needs to become a hub for telecom and ICT. And we basically took that vision and we tried to translate that. How did we translate that? We are not real estate developers, by far. We're telecom operators. We're good at pricing. We're good at products, telecom products and services. We're good in data. We're not good in development. We are in real estate development, definitely. So we had to look for a partner. So the very first thing that we did was basically phase one. We've segmented the project over 3 phases. The first phase was the master developer selection, and we had to take the best of the best from those developers. An RFP or a tender was floated in the market last year, and more than 50 companies have participated in that tender. Companies from China, from Middle East, from Europe, and elsewhere. We've selected 9 of those. 9 of those were shortlisted, and we look at the proximity of our area, and the selection came to an Egyptian company, ECG, and a company that does construction as well. This took us quite a while. We're not the masters of selecting real estate developers. We had people coming on board with us, helping us, consultants that came and helped us. The phase 2 that we launched a month ago, and phase 2 will look at the initiation phase. And the initiation phase, it includes drafting joint venture agreement, investor selection. We will not do it, all of it our own. They will have to do a pre-sales commitment, and I'm here to as well promote and try to sell that TMT for you guys. For those of you who want an office in a smart future city, please come forward and contact us. We'll be more than happy to assist you and give you some guidance on that. We will do project feasibility and of course the studies, and after that we will go to our board of directors, get the go or no go. Phase 3, once we're done with phase 2. Phase 3 will be the launching of development program. It's a long project. It's a big project. It will not have. It's not like rolling a 3G. Over 6 months, you have to roll out 3G. We're used to speed and agility, and when the developer, our consultant or the developer came to us with those dates, we're telling them, can't we just do it in a crash program, just do it in a couple of years? They were telling us, well, hold your horses. It's not, you are going into a different industry, different sector, that it takes time. So the phase 3 will be the launching of the development program, and it will start, we're expecting it to start, hopefully if everything goes well, in January 1st, 2014. So having done all of that, it's another city, it's another development. It's not a smart one, definitely. We will become a real estate, and we are not in the business of becoming a real estate developers. This is why we've married that city, or the concept of that city, and of course, through phase 2, we will come up with the clusters. The developer will tell us what kind of clusters we want to host in that, and the residential mix, what we will be doing. We want to put state-of-the-art telecom IT infrastructure into that city. Why? Because we have done it before. We at France Telecom have done it before to many other operators, be it in the region and outside the region. We've noticed that as a global operator, that greenfield operations are very important for telecom operators. And you can have the future home today. We had a team, and we already have a team in Switzerland, based in Switzerland, the name of Switzerland. Their main core competencies is smart cities and smart city solutions. So in parallel with the master development and the development plan, we are planning to develop the services that we want to put in that media city. We've seen the King Hussein Business Park. It had good and fair telecom infrastructure. I think we will move Jordan to a second phase. We will provide high-end telecom services, and these are some few examples of the telecom services that we will have inside the TMT City for residential and buildings. I will not go through them, all of them, of course. The basic services is not voice and high-speed internet and TV. We are not looking at that. We are looking at smart homes, at havoc control, at water, at CCTV systems, and all of that, multi-play and community services, digital advertising as well. This is what we're looking. And for businesses and real estate, some examples of the services that we can provide. Government and utilities, we're thinking of having a large exhibition, inshallah, Jawad, by the time we move into the TMT City, your Convergence, we'll have it there, inshallah. And for hospitality, these are the kind of services. There are some of services. We commit to have majority of those services in that TMT. So for those of you who want to move, you will move to state-of-the-art city. Our developer is basically had the experience from Dubai Internet City, and they did the Egypt Smart Village, which is one of the most prominent smart villages in the region. They even surpassed Dubai Internet City, so we will do that hand in hand with them.